Hi, Bill Boychelle here at Copacetic Comics. Excited to have, after a 5-year hiatus, the new issue of GANGES by Kevin Huizenga. Boy, have we been waiting for this one. It was originally published in the first 4 issues as part of the Ignatz series that was a co-production of Coconino Press in Italy and Fantagraphics Books, but that thing went the way of the dodo. But Kevin was still steaming away, and as a result, self-published this issue. It just came out. I'm speaking to you now, February of 2016, so that's when it just came out. And it's, Kevin Huizenga does comics like nobody's business and nobody else. He has a visual vocabulary that he developed himself that is really unique and very original. As a way to just bring concepts alive in the use of words and pictures, image and text, and charts and diagrams in a very, again, completely unique fashion. There's really nobody else doing comics quite like Kevin Huizenga, like no one, period. So like if you want to get something that you haven't seen anywhere else, Ganges 5, and he worked on it quite a long time. This issue and basically for the 2 prior issues as well, really focused on trying to convey temporality in a spatial representation. Einstein would say that, according to theories, which are too advanced for me to even pretend to understand, that time is the 4th dimension, and time and space are actually 2 ways to express the same thing. And Huizenga is somebody who's vaguely, working along those lines, probably the only one in comics trying to do it. And here we have, unique things. Like here he does things like where he's imagining things, and it just goes to the infinite possibilities, and he tries to express that by just going off the page. And he did that in some of the earlier issues, just about the wide variety. There were the infinite variety. Like once you start thinking, you can just think forever, and it's just endless, literally. Thoughts can be the only place where like you can conceive of have infinity. But then on the other sense, he has like, you'll suck it down to like 1 second. Like you have this 4 panels here, which you could easily see as like a metronome: 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second, like a flash of anger. And then this flash of anger, is instantly resolved there. But then how that connects then the resolution, I think, is to a sense that like every second that our lives are situated in an infinity, or near infinity. And then there's death takes place. He sort of transitions to having an argument, and then they're going to a funeral, and then there's a church service. So you have religion, and there's a way to deal with our sense of, mortality within our concept of eternity and infinity. And again, weighty concepts, but then done in this very quotidian fashion here. But then it switches to time traveling, deep time, and he goes on this historical comic, which again, the key thing is it's connected to everything that came before. Even though it seems like it's a new story, it's all part and parcel. Here we are, 1775, and he's talking about an early scientist named James Hutton, who I think was Scottish, and was one of the very first people to recognize that certain geological formations indicated that the geological time was of a completely different order of magnitude from historical time as people were aware of it at that time. In 1775, certainly in England and in Christian Europe, the Bible was still considered an authority about everything. And according to the Bible, the earth was 6,000 years old. And obviously there's still literalists today, and he references that earlier in the story. But here they were forced to recognize, based on extrapolating what they could see, that the earth was millions of years old. And then he just goes off, and then he just starts referencing a whole bunch of ways to like try to talk about that, and also talk about how Hutton was able to see something that no one else had seen before, and how the process of discovery occurs within the mind. And like again, he's trying. It's not something that's extremely difficult to do, and he's trying to represent that in a comic book. And this is the kind of thing that you would talk to a person on the street and say, like, would some incredibly complicated mental construction of how discovery occurs, what is the scientific method what's the history of science? Do you think anybody's doing that in comics? And I'm pretty much sure that most people go, ha, no, but here it is. Someone is trying to do it in comics. And again, he's, using this kind of, representation, and it's, if you have to pay close attention to it, but then we're, one block here, one block equals 1 million years, but then here it's also 1 second, and it takes this 1 second, but then you go ding, 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 and then you scale it, and then it's, you get 1 million years. I mean, scale and magnitude and exponential growth is something that's difficult to sometimes wrap your head around, and he's trying to get you to visualize it. And again, these are supposed to be a way he's trying to show, the cycles of erosion and rebuilding, and obviously by having this kind of spiral, it's suggesting cyclical nature. And again, we're talking, now, the common held belief is that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old as opposed to 6,000. Quite a difference. I mean, 6,000 times 1,000 is 6 million, and times another 1,000 is 6 billion. So it's like, the Earth is nearly 1 million times older than was thought just 200 years ago. And that's, again, it's how do you even think about 1 million times that? And and it's still going on. It's continued or concluded next issue. I believe he plans number 6 to be the final issue of Ganges. And then at the back, he's having a little fun with some just Kevin's own little shtick here with his fight and run and a few other things that, again, though, nonetheless, do reflect back on what came before. And then here is a sense of like him drawing. So it's, again, there's all these layers. He just can't help but, bring you to his own mindset of creating this work at the same time. And then here's like a fun, goofy little ad on the back, which again is a take on back cover. It's a structural, what is called an invisible form, the back cover ad. Obviously many people have done it, but he incorporates a back cover ad. But even that back cover ad is yet another iteration of the themes of the book that we have here in Ganges number 5, Rivers, Plains, Ocean by Kevin Huizenga. A unique and incredibly challenging comic that literally, if anyone would have to be smarter than me to be able to figure it all out in reading a single time. Like, I've already read it 2 or 3 times, and I'm still trying to process all the information in this amazing comic book that I hope is available at all comic book stores in America, but probably isn't, but we have it here at the Copacetic Comics Company. Thank you. I mean, that was probably like way long.
No, who's smarter than you?
All right.